Salute discipuli, this is Mickey Strabuddy, and this lesson is all about the verbs. We're going to start off with the personal endings. For the first person singular, it usually ends in O. It can also end in M. Whenever you see these two endings, you translate it as I. So I verb. I run, I swim, I walk, I talk, I yell. Whatever it is that the verb is, the person doing it is I. The pronoun you use is I. If it ends in S, you use you, singular. If it ends in T, it's he, she, or it. This right here might be a term that you're not quite used to. Subject. This just means that it could be, the subject could be specifically stated, such as grumio, or the boy, or the mom. Mus is we, tis is you all, NT is they or subjects, such as mom and dad, or the girls. Please start differentiating, if you don't do so already, between you and you all. That way I know you know the difference between the second person singular and the second person plural. So let's look at this in action. This is the present tense. Porto is our first person singular present tense, and it's also our first principal part. The rest of the forms, portas, portat, portamus, portatus, and portant, come from the second principal part. And you do that by simply chopping off the RE of the infinitive and adding the personal endings, which we talked about on the previous slide. So you carry, he, she, it, or a specified subject carries. We carry, you all carry, they or specified subjects carry. For example, grumio canam coquit, grumio cooks food, dinner. Pecuniam teneo, this O here means that it is I, so I hold the money. In culinam curitis, this tis here means that it is you all, so you all run into the kitchen. Now let's look at the irregular forms. The verb sum esse fui, it is the verb to be. So in the singular it is sum es est, and the plural it is sumus estis and sunt. This actually isn't quite as irregular as many people think. It has have the M, the S, the T, the mus, the tis, and the NT. Three of the forms have SU as the base, as in sum, sumus, and sunt. Three of them have E and S, and S. I guess it's just the E for the second person singular. For example, nona estis contenti. Are you not content? Are you not satisfied? The estis here is the you all. So to be correct here, we'd have to say, are you all not satisfied? Quoquus est in culina. Est right here, subject is. And I say subject is because we have a specified subject. The cook is in the kitchen. Mater et pater sunt laeti. Mother and father are happy. So this would be another example of when you would use the subjects are. The imperfect tense. The imperfect tense also uses our standard personal endings, MST, mus, tis, NT. We have our connecting vowel here. The A is in every single one of them. It connects the base or the root, which is port, you can see on all of them, to other parts of the verb. Here we have an additional part of the verb. We call it our tense indicator. BA means that you are looking at the imperfect. So we've got port, our base, A, our connecting vowel, BA is our tense indicator, followed by our personal endings. The way you translate it is was plus the ing. I was carrying. You were carrying. He, she, it, or subject was carrying, so on and so forth. For example, servi pervium ambulabant. The slaves were walking through the street. Grumio canem timebat. Grumio was afraid of the dog. In cubiculo domiebamus. We were sleeping in the bedroom. Now, back to the irregular verb to be, sum esse fui, in the imperfect tense, also has our regular endings, MST, mus, tis, NT. The base is ERA. So we have eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. I was, you were, he, she, it, or subject was, and so on and so forth. For example, Harry in villa eramus. We were in the house yesterday. Eramus homines, sed nunc sumus umbrae. We were humans, but now we are ghosts. Eras discipula, you are students. Sorry, this is singular. You are a student. All right, perfect tense. Now the perfect tense comes from the third principal part. So I carried is portawi. That's taken straight off of here. If you drop the I here, you're left with the base for the rest of it. So you can see that over and over again for every single form. The endings change. The personal endings change for the perfect tense. So it's I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. Notice that I do not have the V colored. This V is, you can't count on it for every single perfect tense. I know it's really easy for people to try to rely on this V. This V will oftentimes not be here. The only thing you can count on for sure is the I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. The other thing you can count on for sure is that if you know your third principal part for each verb, then you know what the form will look like. Again, you cannot count on that V all the time. And this is the simple past tense, so this isn't something that happened over an extended period of time, like the previous one that we looked at. Instead, this is something that just happened at a moment of time. So I carried. Last night, I carried my books, versus I used to carry my books. The imperfect tense implies that it happened over an extended period of time. You did it maybe every day for several years, whereas this one, the perfect tense, it's just, one and done. For example, clemens clamorum audiuit. Clemens heard an uproar. This is something that probably just happened once. It was momentarily. He didn't hear it every single night, at least not according to this sentence. Number 2, caecilium salutavimus. We, that's the mus here, right? So we greeted Caecilius. Agriculae mercatorum pulsaverunt. The farmers hit the merchant. Okay, so they did it just, briefly. It was a one-time thing. They weren't constantly hitting him over the course of several years. All right, now the pluperfect. This is the last tense that you all learned last year, so this one might be a little sketchy in your memory. So the pluperfect, you take the base from the third principal part, drop the I here, and as you can see, we have the base for all of it. And then your ending is actually the imperfect tense of the irregular verb to be, sum esse fui. You can see here in the green, we have eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. And the way you translated it is with had. So I had carried, you had carried, we had carried, you all had carried, so on and so forth. The pluperfect is saying that it happened before another past tense in the sentence. I know that sounds kind of confusing, so let's look at some examples. In aula erat ursa, quam rex ex Italia importaverat. So, in the palace was a bear. So here, erat, this is imperfect. Again, in the palace was a bear, which the king had imported out of Italy. In atrio sedebant hospites, quos ad aulam invitaveramus. So, in the atrium, guests were sitting, so this is our imperfect, whom we had invited to the palace. So the inviting to the palace happened before they were sitting in the atrium. The importing of the bear happened before the bear was in the palace. Third example, Salvius me punivit quod evile fugeram. So Salvius punished me because I had fled out of the house. So the fleeing out of the house happened before Salvius punished me. All right, let's look at the infinitives. We've got 5 different declensions, first, second, third IO, and fourth. Third IO is kind of a hybrid of the third and the fourth conjugation. Portare, to carry. This has A as your glue, that vowel, or thematic vowel that connects the base to its endings. Docere, an accented E. Trahera, an unaccented E, capera, an unaccented E, and audira, an accented I. There are 2 uses for the infinitive. Actually, there's more, but as of right now, we only know 2. The complementary infinitive, it completes the idea of the main verb, and the infinitive as a subject. The first example is the infinitive as the subject. Necessa est quibum portare. We would translate that as it is necessary to carry food. Or you could say, to carry food is necessary. So that's the infinitive as the subject. This is a complementary infinitive. Again, it's completing the idea of the main verb. The main verb here is wolt, wants. Magistra is our subject. So the teacher wants to teach Latin. Polostrum trahera ad horeum debes. You, we know it's you because it ends in an S, you ought to drag the wagon to the barn. Number 4, diem capere cupimus. Mus tells us that the subject is we. So we want to seize the day. Canes audire potestas. Okay, potestas is our main verb. We know that the subject is you all because of the tis ending here. So you all are able to hear the dogs. All right, so the reason why we are starting our massive review off with verbs is because verbs are possibly the most important part of the sentence. You can tell so much about the sentence and kind of find your way through the fog of all the craziness of the grammar once you have found the verb. So keep calm and find the verb. Thank you.